Most people only witness a funeral from the outside. They show up clean, sit in a plastic chair, listen to a few rehearsed words, and then step back into the sunlight as if death were something that happens off stage. But here in this little border village where the jungle leans right up against the back door, death doesn't slip away quietly. It's invited in, tended to, honored, and walked gently out over many long days. Kein Sompet, my wife's father, my father-in-law, was an important sage in this region, revered, known even in places his feet never touched. And Papa, as he was affectionately known to his inner circle, had the unforced handsomeness of a movie hero written straight out of an old Hollywood script. I only had a little less than a year on this earth with him, but in that short time we forged something real, a closeness, a genuine love for each other. He was vibrant, and smiling and laughing and funny and bright, strong and calm, always tinkering around the farm here with some tool or some rope or some mystery only he understood. At our wedding, he genuinely glowed. My wife told me she had never seen him so alive, so outwardly joyful. And once he saw that we were settled and his beloved daughter was content and protected and cared for, he said he was ready to go home to his wife, U Raiwan, who'd passed just 2 years before. This was not poetic talk. This was a man wired into the universe. He announced the day and even the time of his leaving. The family protested, of course. He was still healthy, still strong. But he meant it. And sure enough, the signs quickly followed. He said to my wife, "On the 8th day of the 10th month, at 1 a.m., I will go home." This was less than 48 hours away. He missed it by 10 minutes. We were all there when the first wails of grief broke open, sharp, primal, and surprisingly brief. The family moved with the practiced grace of generations. They prepared him the way this place has always prepared its dead. They chanted, held his jaw shut, undressed him, bathed him, powdered his skin, repositioned his body right there in his bed, dressed him carefully for his journey home. And as if some invisible signal rose up from the farm and drifted across the village, people began appearing, one by one, each person fulfilling a traditional role handed down through families older than memory. Canopies went up, seating, lighting. Monks' platforms were assembled, cooking stations, food and drink of every color, rows of eating tables, and the altar where he'd lie in wait for 3 days, all appearing with quiet efficiency. On the second day, they shifted his body slightly and positioned his hand outward, palm open. Then, with a presiding monk watching over the ritual, family approached one by one to pour water over his hand. There's no formal name for it as such in Thailand. My wife simply called it watering the corpse. Soon after, the undertaker, the man whose sole purpose is to steward these rites, began preparing Papa for the temperature-controlled, insulated casket. He performed another ceremony to ensure the placement of the body was precise.
Kein Sompet.
เย็นสิบ่ฮอดความเย็นบ่ฮอด
เอาค่อยๆว่างหน้าเราข้างในจำตัวนี่เราข้างในจำตัวเราข้างในเอาฟ้ามาปิดบันนี้ฟ้าปิดไว้ฟ้าปิดบักคือโรงเรียนไหนฟ้าปิดไว้ตรงนี้ร้านเนี่ยมาหลายแล้วโรงเรียนร้านไม่หลายแล้วล่ะมีสมุนกินมียังไปเด้อ
For the next 3 days, villagers came, friends, relatives, monks, people from distant provinces who heard he had passed and made the journey to pay respects, seek forgiveness, and honor a man and a family they loved. And these were not quiet days, not by a long shot. There was laughter, music, drinking, gambling, life flowing at full volume right there beside death. Each sunrise reset the cycle. Food, prayer, stories, ceremony. It was something to witness, something to document. In the morning on the 5th day, everyone gathered again at the house. I was honored to serve as a pallbearer. We lifted his coffin and carried it to the waiting truck. A long white string connected the procession to the coffin all the way to the temple. A reminder that our soul isn't carried to the next world alone here. At the temple, we circled the beautiful, ornate crematorium 3 times and placed the coffin at the entrance of a large, somewhat rudimentary furnace. The crematorium has only been part of the temple here for 5 years. Then hundreds of guests took their places. After the ceremony concluded, it was time to remove the relics and offerings that had accompanied him for the last 3 days.
Họ kim trên bọc mua có khơi
Chị Tam bà lên có bài cầu nữaครับ
còn này dừng dây có dây nè sonเก็บไปโลดเก็บไปอยู่ฝั่งใดก็เก็บให้หมด
เอากระทองที่
โอ้ยยังกระทำนะมันกินหัว
เอียงเลย
คนที่เมาเลยออกก่อนครับลูกพี่ลูกพี่ทำไป
Then we gathered close around the coffin to pour coconut water over him, a last blessing of reverence, cooling, and farewell.
Mà cha tên đi vô tự đông riêng múc
chầm riêng múc ôi
kia chăm
Âu
riêng
đây
đi là tù hù lơi tù hù thôi riêng cả riêng.
My wife and her sisters washed his face with heartbreaking tenderness and whispered their goodbyes. The undertaker poured kerosene. They slid him into the furnace. Tossed in the flame. Heavy iron door shut. Before long, smoke billowed above into the sky. The cremation lasted through the night. When we returned for the final ceremony the next morning, there was one strange, unexpected occurrence. His heart, they say, hadn't fully burned. So they placed it beside the crematorium and burned it in the open air until it surrendered. His ashes were then poured onto a piece of tin on the ground. Carefully shaped again into the form of a body. coins and flower petals arranged around him. One final ceremony. Then, family and those closest to him sifted through the ashes, searching for bone fragments and teeth, both to keep as private mementos and to include in the urn destined for the stupa beside his beloved.
Nên bạn rước tế.
Nên bạn ơi, nên đi môn đi.
Nên rước.
Nên đi môn.
Muôn, đi khổ, rước. Rước năng đây hơi cồn rước tàu. Côi rước lời, ngâm cho liềng. Nóng đơ nà.
Tôi cần gặp nói luôn.
จับเต็มมือเลยรบกวนไม่ตาไม่รู้จะทำอะไร
Finally, everything was wrapped in linen and brought home to await the stupa ceremony.
นะปัจจโยกรรมปัจจโยวิปากปัจจโยอาหารปัจจโยอินทรียปัจจโยชานะปัจจโยมรรคปัจจโยสัมปโยตปัจจโยวิปโยตปัจจโยนาติปัจจโยอาติปัจจโยวิคตปัจจโยอวิคตปัจจโย
Some lives leave a noise behind. Papa left a palpable frequency, a low, steady hum that moves through this house, through this village, through this family. We don't even have to listen very closely. His presence echoes here like a bell tone.